Knott's Berry Farm's ghost town looks like a historic old western town.
The lines were so long with people waiting. That's when Dad put in the ghost town.
Chris Merritt wrote about the ghost town in his book, Knott's Preserved, and thinks the town is an important part of Knott's Berry Farm's character.
I think there's always going to be a love for Knott's, and I think the core employees who work here love the farm so much. I think it's always going to be with us, and that's a really wonderful thing.
Co-author Lynxwiler remembers how the park changed from a farm to a park.
I think that Knott's Berry Farm is working really hard to find a balance between what is economically needed to be a theme park, which is roller coasters, and the smooth, serene nature of what Knott's Berry Farm is about, which is the farm and ghost town.
The buildings in Knott's Ghost Town have their own unique history.
Now what they did was they went out and they bought buildings and parts of buildings and building materials and kegs of square nails and all these pieces and parts and put them back together.
Orange County historian Phil Brigandi took some fans on a tour of Ghost Town and talked about where some of the buildings came from.
This building here, for example, the gun and knife shop, moved here in 1953 from that famous old western ghost town of Buena Park. That building comes from Downey, moved here in about 54. When Southern California was growing very rapidly, a lot of old buildings were getting torn down and Knott's was buying them up. The post office built out old materials, 1942, as a facade, later expanded into a post office. That is originally a Pacific Electric depot, the big red cars on the line from Los Angeles to Santa Ana.
Some of the buildings were actually used at the park for their original purpose.
The old Iowa school, which of course was built in Kansas by people who had moved there from Iowa, built in 1879 outside of Beloit, Kansas, used as a real school. The Knott grandchildren went to kindergarten in the schoolhouse in the 50s. You know, Walter thought this was going to be, they'd spend a few months on this and have it, and of course it ended up being 20 years of his life to build all the things and more that you've just seen here in Ghost Town. I think when it comes to Ghost Town and the old stuff at Knott's, the glass is definitely half full. It is amazing to me how much is still here, how much can be seen. It should just be a rule when you come here to Knott's that for every new ride you go on, you have to come do one thing in Ghost Town. Then you can go on a ride, and you can go do one thing in Ghost Town.
Mark Eades reporting for OCRegister.com.